Hello everyone, today we're looking at Dragon Age Inquisition. I was lucky enough at Gamescom to get hands-on for about half an hour and I got to record my gameplay. So some barbarians have captured an Inquisition patrol, they're holding them hostage. The leader wants to fight the Herald of Andraste, which just happens to be my character, and I've got to fight through a bog filled with undead to get to where these guys are being held hostage. So let's get to it. As I was limited on time, I didn't do many side quests. However, there were beacons spotted around the mire, which if a mage lit them, only a mage could do this, it attracts undead from kind of the local area, and it means you can kind of progress a little bit faster because all of the undead have been summoned to this beacon, and you can just dispatch them all in one go. I've got this character here, Blackwall. He's kind of like a tank, sword and shield fellow. I think he can stun enemies as well as use his horn to do like an AoE. It's either a buff or it grabs aggro on the other enemies. I think it's probably the latter. And then this guy Cole, he's kind of like a half spirit man. He can kind of go invisible. He does backstabs, throws daggers. He's basically a rogue. There's a little feature here I'd like to mention, which is the tactical camera. I didn't use it very much in my playthrough, but basically if you kind of favour a slower style of gameplay, you can kind of pause the game in or out of battle and give individual units specific commands. You know, use this potion, attack that enemy, guard this area, and maybe, you know, in the later game boss fights that might be required to make sure you're getting the most out of your party. There seems to be some kind of fade rift here. As the Herald of Andraste, I can kind of connect to it, and then loads of monsters appear, I think, or something like that. So yeah, now there's like what looks like an explosion in the sky, made of green, and yeah, my main character here, the double, get over here! That's a pretty cool move, I like that one. Reminds me of Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. And yeah, this character's got like a flaming double greatsword thingy. I'd still not really worked out how exactly the controls worked, because I thought that you had to use you know, the ability wheel all the time, but apparently just right trigger is kind of like standard attacks, so you don't always have to do that. There's an enemy at the back here that looks a little bit like a Dementor from Harry Potter. And I'm just going to go and smash his face in with a giant flaming sword. He doesn't like that at all. In fact, he's now turned into a lava demon, based on the fire, I presume. And I think he's been stunned because he seems to just be touching the floor. Now he's turned into water and exploded. So that's all normal. There's a move I'm trying to use here, which is like I think it uses like a rift power. And were there to be enemies around, it would kind of suck them all into that little green thing that's floating around and pull them into the rift, dispatching them nice and quickly. But all the enemies are gone, so my character's going to close the rift and we can move on. I'm once again playing Cole, opening up with a bit of a blink strike on some enemies that have been summoned by this kind of pillar that I've activated with the mage. Cole has just been knocked over by what looks like an alien from the film Aliens. And no, I've stabbed it in the back. It doesn't like that a bit. Although it doesn't seem to have done much damage at all. I'm just going to switch to my main character now, the one with the big flamey sword, and just start cutting him asunder, because he certainly doesn't seem to like that. Still don't really know what this purple orby thing above my head is. I think it's an ability of the mage, Solus, and I think it kind of like zaps people in the local area. The enemies have got abilities as well. That alien just did like an AoE knockdown. So you have to be careful of those. I'm sure that, you know, this is just trash mobs, so they're not very strong, but the bosses have probably got some nice mechanics behind them. As you get used to each character, you kind of learn which is best. I like the greatsword. There's lots of kind of swingy AoE attacks, very useful for the large groups of monsters. One thing I really did like, other than the combat, was the lack of loading screens. The graphics are great, it's on Frostbite 3 engine, but once we got into the zone, I guess, for the start of this quest, I spent half an hour in this mire, and I skipped loads of kind of like secondary content, side quests and stuff like that, and it just really just kept going with no loading screens, so that was really nice to see. Right, so as we've now met up with the barbarian leader, I just want to touch on a little scoop for you. Today, or was it yesterday, there was an announcement on the website of Dragon Age that they are adding 4-player co-op multiplayer to this game. Now it's not going to be the main campaign, it's going to be a separate kind of story. It's going to be a dungeon crawler-esque, I'm guessing like, you know, Diablo, Torchlight, stuff like that. You level up your character, you get better gear. There's a currency called Platinum that you can buy with real money, which will allow you to get items faster, but they have said on the FAQ that there isn't a single item in the game that can't be got with good old-fashioned grinding, using the the gold that you get from crawling through the dungeons. So that could be quite fun to play. The combat in this is pretty good, and I think with 4 friends you have a good laugh. The fight itself in the single player, this one here that we're watching now, I found it a little bit uninspired. It was a bit of a damage sponge, but the characters here are only level 10. Presumably this is quite early into the game. They didn't want to reveal too much at Gamescom. So yeah, I was happy with it. It was good fun all the same. Right then, boys and girls, I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's not been as jovial as the usual videos on this channel, but I got the opportunity to record at Gamescom, and I wanted to show you guys some in-game footage before the game is released in November. If you did enjoy, drop us a like, show your mum, show your cat, and more importantly, leave us a comment and let us know your thoughts. Are you excited for the game? Is it going to live up to your expectations? Let us know. If you are still on the fence, make sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook. I'll be doing some live streaming on Twitch of the single and multiplayer when the game does come out. That really is it for today, so I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Is everyone all right?
Goodbye.